guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Katie. I'm gonna do a really quick intro today. Today I'm gonna be showing you how to make a DIY boho wall hanging. I've had it on my list forever, this particular one. So I'm really excited to share that with you, as well as this hack that I've seen going around on like TikTok and Instagram, and it's making these like twisty, bendy candles. They look so cool, and I think you'll be really surprised at like how simple it is, and it's really fun to make. So let's go ahead and hop right into the projects. This DIY is seriously one of my favorites in such a long time. So you're gonna need some taper candles, and from what I've heard online, you want them to be refined paraffin if you can. I honestly took a chance with these candles. I got them on Amazon, and I will link them down below, and they were the exact kind that I needed, but I guess certain ones don't work as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. So I place them in a vase of warm water, not hot water, just warm. It doesn't have to be boiling, for about 15 minutes. And you can see it gets really bendy, which is exactly what you want. You want to leave the bottom of it and the top of it round, but then you're going to take a rolling pin or a jar or something, and you're going to roll the middle section flat. And it's really soft to work with once you've soaked it in that warm water for about 15 minutes. And then you can start to twist the wax and make really cool shapes with it. And I will link the account down below on Instagram where I originally saw this. And the person that made it, he made all these different types of candles, and they look so cool. So I definitely got inspiration from him. So I'll link that down below. But basically you just wanna play around with this. It took some trial and error for me, but you wanna loosely grip it, like do not grip it too tight, and then just sort of twist the wax around each other. When you're happy with it, you can put it in some cold water for it to harden back up. Now with this design, I decided to keep it round, and I didn't flatten it at all, and then I just sort of bent it into like this curved shape at the bottom and the top. And something that I also learned is if you're not super happy with it, but it starts to harden, you can put it back in the warm water, and then you can continue bending it after that. So don't worry if you kind of mess up, you can sort of put it back in and bend it again. And then this last one, I decided to do some tighter twists with it. So I flattened it in the center, and then I twisted it starting in the middle and moving upwards and downwards, and just making tighter twists. So like I said, it's all trial and error, and you have to play around with it a little bit, but I just think this is so much fun. I think these look so cool, a little bit modern and like abstract, and I'm really excited to make a bunch more. So let me know what you guys think of them. So this wall hanging is something I've been wanting to make forever, and I got this rug gripper pad. It's a little bit rubbery for the base, and then I'm using Macrame Cord. It's 5mm cord, which I'll link down below, and I created this sort of fun curved shape. So I did a big curve at the top, then I kind of got smaller and smaller with it, like this little serpentine pattern basically, and you can come up with any shape that you want, but I think this one looks really cool. And then I'm going to go ahead and start gluing this first piece down to the rug gripper pad using some hot glue. And then I'm gonna go ahead and fill in this center part with more macrame cord. So this area here, I'm just gonna continue gluing more and more pieces after I do my first one. So the first few inches of it, I'm actually going to leave unglued. So I started about 4 or 5 inches up, and then started to glue this first piece down. And I put a piece of wood underneath just so I'm not ruining my table. But basically you wanna glue it section by section, and this first part is going to take you the longest because you really wanna make sure you're getting the shape right as you glue it down, because this is going to provide the outline for the rest of the wall hanging. So just take your time and glue it piece by piece. And again, on the other side, I'm leaving a long strip of macrame cord unglued, which you'll see why at the end. So then the next step is to go in with a second piece of cord and glue it to the first one. So what I decided to do was sort of glue it to like the inside of the first piece of string, as you can see here. And then again, just section by section, I glued it to the first piece, and then you're gonna do another piece and another piece until it reaches the thickness that you like. Now, it's definitely one of those like tedious projects that you wanna pop on a movie or listen to some music. I would say this whole thing took me about 1 hour, maybe 1 to 2 hours, because I was just really being careful about how I was gluing it together. Didn't want to glue it to my table and just wanted to make sure it looked nice and clean. So as far as how many pieces you need to use, that is totally up to you. You can use as many as you want. I personally ended up adding 11 pieces in total, and I could have even gone for a little bit more, but I really liked the way that it looked and I didn't want to push it, so I stuck with 11. And of course, the thicker cord you use, the less times you'll have to do this. So like I said, I'm using 5mm, but you can really use any size that you want. And this is how long I'm leaving those ends on the other side. So these are gonna be a little bit longer, and then the ones on the left side are like a few inches shorter than the right. So once you've got it totally glued down and it's the thickness that you like, now it's time to flip it over and then cut away the rug pad. So you don't have to be perfect with this right off the bat, and I'm only cutting the parts away that are glued. So this part you're just gonna leave with nothing on the back. So I started by cutting where I started gluing. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect right away. Just try to cut as closely as you can to the cord. And then once you've finished it completely, then you can kind of flip it over and see which parts are still showing through a little bit. And then you can refine it from there and just try to cut it as much as you can, so that when you're hanging it up on the wall, you won't be able to see any of this gripper pad underneath. Now, a quick note about hanging this up. I used some really sturdy, like double-sided tape made for hanging like posters and things on the wall, and it held pretty well. But you could also use command hooks. You could use like the command Velcro strips would be really perfect for this. So you have a few options as far as hanging it up goes. Now the last step is to fringe these loose pieces of macrame cord. So I just use this little comb to kind of brush them out, and then with this thicker cord, you can actually use your hands to just sort of separate all of the strands. It's pretty easy. It's just like unbraiding something, and then you can comb through it to get that nice fringe look. Now you could totally and completely leave it like this if you like the way that it looks and you're ready to hang it up. But I also wanted to add a little bit of color to my fringe. So after I trimmed it up to make sure that all of the edges were even, I mixed together some paint and some water. Now you could also dye this using some sort of like RIT dye, or you could even, I've seen people dyeing things with food a lot lately, like avocados and turmeric, so you could try that. But I just had some paint on hand, so I decided to just add some water to it and paint it onto the fringe. It's not gonna cover the whole thing, but I kind of liked it like that, and with the water, it kind of like waters it down obviously a little bit, so the color isn't quite as intense. So once I had painted both sides, I went ahead and just combed through it again because I didn't want it to all stick together with the paint, and it also helps to blend the paint a little bit by combing it out. So I just used that little comb again, combed through it, and used my fingers to sort of separate it as it was drying so that it would look good. And then now it is finally ready to hang it up, and I think this looks so, so cool. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I loved making them, but I have to say, out of the two, I really enjoyed making the candles more, just because of how like creative you can get with them. You can do so many different shapes and twist patterns and everything. So if you guys try it out, make sure you tag me on Instagram, because I would love to see like what different patterns and shapes and twists you come up with. It's so much fun. I want to get a bunch of different colors and sizes and everything. So make sure you're following me on Instagram and you're subscribed to my channel. I try to post every single Sunday new videos, so you don't want to miss out on that. I would love to have you stick around, and I'll see you next week for a brand new video.